Welcome back, writers. Today's quick tip has to do with the word the. And if you'd like some context around the discussion that we're going to be having today, please check out episode 2, Less is More. But for right now, I'm just going to jump right into this. As always, when we are talking about crafting stronger sentences, we're talking about getting our full message across in as few words as possible. And as we mentioned in episode 2, Less is More, we said that just because we can include certain words doesn't mean we should include them. And the word the is a perfect example of that. Arguably, the word the is the most ubiquitous, most frequently used word in the English language. It appears in almost every sentence we write. And it's one of those words that kind of hides in plain sight. We use it so frequently, we don't even really notice it anymore. And as a result, it sneaks into our writing and can clog up and slow down our sentences. So just knowing that the word the sometimes appears all by itself without our consciously putting it there, we need to get in the habit of looking for the word the, and every time we see it, asking ourselves, is it necessary? Do we need it? Does it help the sentence or does it hurt the sentence? And that's my whole message for today. And I'm just going to show you some examples. I'm going to keep my narrative to a minimum right now because I want you just look at these sentences, experience them for the first time, and see what you would do with the word the in each of these cases. And then we'll talk a little bit more in depth on the other side. So here's the first sentence. Not only do the children lack an understanding of the legal system, they don't have the ability to remember the copious amounts of information. So, as you can see, 4 instances of the word the. And we're just going to ask ourselves, are they all necessary? Feel free to hit pause if you want to think about it for a moment, but here's how I would rework that sentence. Not only do children lack an understanding of the legal system, they don't have the ability to remember copious amounts of information. So you can see I cut 2 of the thes because I didn't think they were necessary. I think it's a stronger sentence without them, but you should make your own assessment. Okay, here's another sentence. Gloves are used to protect the workers and the customers and reduce the contamination between the stations. Again, 4 instances of the word the. Are they all necessary? Here's what I think. Gloves are used to protect workers and customers and reduce contamination between stations. In this case, I removed all of them. You may decide otherwise, and that's okay. As long as you can defend your choices, that's great. Okay, let's look at this one. Even when the patrons know where to sit, the ushers play an important role. 2 thes in this sentence. To my writer's ear, they're not necessary, so I removed both of them. Even when patrons know where to sit, ushers play an important role. All right, let's just look at one more quickly. Mary served as the interim liaison for the staff during a recent negotiation. 2 thes. What do you think? Mary served as interim liaison for staff during a recent negotiation. I didn't think we needed either one of them, so I removed both. Okay, so I'm sure you get it by now. It's not rocket science. Sometimes you want the word the in a sentence and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's necessary in a sentence and sometimes it's not. And it's up to you, the writer, to decide. So if these examples have helped drive this point home for you and you think you can easily incorporate this practice into your own writing, great, my work here is done. I'll see you next time. But if you just want to go a little bit deeper into this, I'm just going to talk for a little bit more. So my approach when I'm weeding out all the unnecessary thes in a sentence is simply to listen to what I've written and ask myself, is this what I want the reader to hear? Is this what I want the sentence to sound like for my reader? And everybody has their own process. Maybe your process, maybe you'd be more comfortable knowing the grammar behind a decision like this. So I took the liberty of going to the Google, speaking of instances with the unnecessary use of the word the, And I found this explanation on a grammar website. This is what they said about the word the. Don't use the word the before plural countable nouns, universities, languages, countries, some acronyms, jobs or professions, abstract ideas, or when talking about things in general. Note there are exceptions to every rule. All right, so that doesn't seem like a very helpful rule to me, but just for the sake of argument, let's say you were able to find some grammatical explanation that made sense to you, that you could easily bring to mind, and that would help you make decisions about when to use the word the and when not to use it. Okay, great. So we have two different approaches. My approach is I'm listening to the sentence in my head and making a decision that way, and you're using grammar. Okay, so with that in mind, let's look at these two sentences. The police surrounded the building. We can probably agree that we definitely need the second the building. But what about the first one? Do we need the police surrounded the building? I don't think so. So I would change that to just police surrounded the building. I think it's cleaner, less clunky. It has a more sophisticated sound, which is what I'm going for. So I'm happy with that choice. And let's say you made the same choice based on grammar. So we came to the same conclusion, but my choice was based on what it sounds like in my head, and your choice was based on grammar. All right, good so far. Now let's look at this sentence. John called the police from his ransacked garage. The police. In this instance, I think we need the. John called the police. Colloquially, that's what we're accustomed to hearing. Call the police. So we've got ourselves a little conundrum here. Grammar isn't going to help us because we have the same word, police, and in one instance we want the, and in another we don't. So I'm not saying this to be snarky. I like grammar as much as the next person. I'm saying this to encourage you to develop your writer's ear and trust your writer's instincts, because a lot of the time grammar isn't going to help us. Grammar is great, but grammar is one size fits all, and your writing is unique to you. So yes, by all means use grammar, but listen to what you're writing and make sure it's what you want your reader to hear. You're the writer, it's up to you. All right, that's it. That's my quick tip for today. Make sure that every instance of the word the on the page is there because you want it to be, not because it snuck in without your knowledge or consent. So next time we're going to talk about the word that, another sneaky little word that finds its way into our writing. I will see you then.